Greetings fellow humans, I'm MartianBuu, and today's pocket video is on Wigglytuff Weezing, which just got a very important update. The promo Jigglypuff with the 1 energy sing attack was added to the game yesterday. This allows you to slow down your opponent early on and potentially stall out your opponent while racking up poison damage later on without having to evolve into Wigglytuff to do it. The rest of the deck looks the same as people have been playing it before. It's just we get this big upgrade on the basic Pokemon that Wigglytuff has to evolve from. I thought this was a pretty big improvement, and it definitely had some moments in the stream this video came from. I hope you enjoy the games, and thank you so much for watching. All right, starting off with coughing, going second. Weezing is actually pretty good if you want to go first, but I mean, like, if you end up going first. Oh, we're up against Weezing Monarchy, huh? How do you fit all those cards in there? I think a lot of people run like 1/1 lines of things. I don't think I run into a lot of people running off meta decks and they're running just ones of everything, not running a 2 of and at all in their deck. Except maybe trainers, I don't know. Is it more fun to run one? I think you see that from like Commander and from Highlander in MTG and Hearthstone, so maybe people just do like running one of. There's a Highlander mode in paper Pokemon. I think this is the last like illustration art I'm missing. Like, for, you know, those secret quests for if you collect all they're like such and such pack trainer gallery. I think the only one I'm missing is Weezing. I think I have all the other ones. Alright, so they would have to Giovanni me again for me to not be able to Koga this Weezing. So I am going to proceed as if they don't have a second Giovanni. But yeah, there's a Highlander format in the paper TCG that's starting to become more popular. They call it GLC for Gym Leader Challenge, and the restrictions are, so it's played with the expanded card pool that's black and white on. It has some bans, but you can only have one of any card. You can't have any rule box cards, so that extends to A-Spec trainers. And so one of any card, no rule box, and so that would also be like no EXs for those of you who don't play paper. Look at this sick Koga. And your whole deck has to be the same type as each other. So you run, you know, if you're running a dark deck, all your Pokemon have to be dark. So I actually, like, I have a couple built, and the only opportunity I usually have to play is at a regionals. So when I went to Sacramento, I did bring one, but I ended up just playing, like, doing well enough in the side event before and after the main event that it wasn't worth dropping early to play GLC. That's my story about GLC. But I have a dark deck and I have a metal deck. You won't play GLC because you can't play Steelix. I know, right? There's a lot of things like that, especially in metal and in dark. I think metal is the worst one. Well, like, because you can't play Scissor, you can't play Steelix because in order to play a Steelix, you need to play an Onyx, and Onyx doesn't come in Steel type, so... Have they ever printed a fighting Steelix? Like, ever? They've done a dual type Steelix before, where it was fighting and steel. I don't think they've ever done a fighting, like a just straight up fighting Steelix. Ever. Have they? And my opponent has got to be running like crazy one-ofs. If they have room for the Arbok line too. Jiggly Wiggly gameplay perfect. What up, Erna? I've opened 1 billion Mewtwo packs and still no Giovanni. Unlucky. There is one fighting type Steelix, and I'm not playing that. One, yeah, I have one of each Steelix card. Really? Steelix fighting. Oh yeah, look at it go. When was this? This is from Fusion Strike. So this attack does 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. 3 for 180, the attack does 30 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. This actually seems fine for GLC. Like 3 for 180 knocks out literally everything. And the rage attack is good. I mean, fighting's a little weak, right? Unless you're running the Hitmonchan combo. Huh. Oh, I can't retreat. I need the other Koga. The other Koga would have been sick, huh? Well, I can potion to avoid getting knocked out by poison on my turn, which would have been bad news bears for me. So if I Giovanni, they're going to take 40 at the end of my turn, 50 coming back to mine. 60, 70, it's not gonna matter, right? 50 coming back to mine. I would bring up this Weezing, deal 30, they'd take poison damage. So actually the Giovanni does matter, because they would just retreat out of the poison anyway. So this way they get knocked out by the tackle of my second Weezing. I just like floated in energy. I don't know how much it matters, but like it would make it easier for me to retreat the Weezing if I wanted to. So, I mean, I should have attached it. I'm just so absorbed in thinking about my math and everything I already had in energy, so. It is fine, it just feels wrong. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I take it Steelix is your favorite Pokemon. Steelix is a good favorite, by the way. He's up there for me. Especially, like, I have cards I like because they're, like, they're Pokemon. Or I have Pokemon I like because they're Pokemon I like. And there are Pokemon I like because they've had cards that I like to play in decks. And Steelix is way high on the list for me as far as cards I've liked to include in decks. Original Steelix, like Neo Steelix, that card was awesome. I played it with Kabutops and I loved it. And now that I'm looking at rebuilding old format decks, I really want to build a Brock's Ninetail Steelix deck, so you can like put Brock's protection on the Brock's Ninetails, turn it into the Steelix, and then your opponent can't discard your metal energies. So that's cool. Really? This thing's just gonna knock me out, isn't it? No way! Alright, so if I Sabrina, it might save me a turn. Like, can I, like, really? I've used 1 Pokeball and 1 Professor's Research. We have a Pokeball and 2 Jigglypuff in my deck. Brutal. But yeah, unless they top deck X speed, they shouldn't be able to knock out the Weezing next turn. Here, let me go ahead and not float it in energy again. Ended up working out just fine, because I don't need more energy than this. Watch me top deck that Koga. Brutal. Steelix and Skarmory are my 2 favorites. Lost Thunder format in Sun and Moon before Tag Team Steelix had a fun control deck. I think I remember that, because it just had like a ton of HP. Is that what it was? Marshy floating energy. Well, now this game is destined for YouTubes. Yeah. I was confused by Brock's Ninetales, and then I had a Ratatouille-esque flashback to Vulpix in the anime. Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. All right. So here's the problem with drawing the Jigglypuff now, as opposed to earlier. The problem is I need 3 energy on it to attack with Wigglytuff. So I guess I'm gonna take advantage of my brand new Jigglypuff sleep technology and hope that this makes for an epic gamer moment where I'm able to Jigglypuff, put it to sleep to have it survive enough to become Wigglytuff. Let's see, how do they have so many like what is it? This last card has got to be a Arbok, right? They're not just running in Ekans? No, they evolved it. Never mind. The last card is definitely Nidoking. All right. So if they have 2 Nidokings, that's like 180 damage, right? So like evolving into Wigglytuff doesn't do me any favors. So we really are just using our new Jigglypuff's technology to put them asleep and hope and pray that they actually remain asleep for me to evolve and knock them out next turn. For my YouTube video. For my YouTube video. Please. Yes! New Jigglypuff mattered! Yeah! Old Jigglypuff never got there. Old Jigglypuff never got there, chat. Oh my goodness. That's a YouTube moment of all time. Woke up. All right, and we evolve into Wiggly's. Hit him with the sleepy song, and they get knocked out by poison. You just wanted it more? Exactly. In terms of TCG making Pokemon favorites, I love Pyroar because of the Flash Fire intimidating main. For me, the one Pokemon that gets carried hardest by TCG mechanics is Gardevoir. I've probably had more funny Gardevoir decks in paper TCG than any other Pokemon, and I don't think it's even close. I think Gardevoir just specifically has had archetypes that appeal to me way more than other Pokemon. But even with that precedent over the years, I still don't really care for the Pokemon itself. Like, I don't really like Gardevoir as a Pokemon, just for its own merits, you know. But I've loved so many of its cards that I've started to like Gardevoir cards, right? Like, I'm never going to play with a Gardevoir in the video game. I'm never going to like, well, maybe I would put one on the wall. I don't know. Just because I like the cards so much. But like, they've had too many awesome Gardevoir archetypes that like, I look forward to Gardevoir cards, even though I don't really care for the Pokemon that much. Not the Staryu. Anything but the Staryu, chat. Do you not go in and like their showcase to give them a second shop ticket? No? Am I supposed to? Sounds like a lot of effort after every match. Can I even do that to a random? Alright, we're up against Spearow, Kangaskhan, Staryu. You got really quick at it, you guys? Well, I think just thinking at the end of the match is plenty. I don't know. Wow, my opponents are running some decks of all time. I don't like, up until like for the past couple weeks, right? I've been playing exclusively in that event thing. I wonder if like my average opponent in the event was just going to be more likely to play a meta deck, right? But like 2 of the 3 things I've played this morning have been, you know, cards decks. With 5 shop tickets max a day, chances are they will easily get all 5 just by playing matches and Wonder Pick things or so, right? Unless they change shop ticket max. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like, eh. Before they refilled the shop, I had stopped thinking at the end of matches too, most of the time, just because there was a like for the first month, there was a set amount of things that you could even get with shop tickets, and we didn't know when and how often the shop was going to get refilled. So it started to seem pointless to even think at the end of matches, right? Like it is faster just to hit the X, but then they refilled the shop, and so now I've gone back to thanking every time. Someone on Reddit said that thanking after high rolling someone is BM. Yeah, see, like that just like shows you how stupid the most BM arguments are, right? Like when it comes to emoting and stuff, like I agree with almost nobody who thinks that emoting ever is BM, right? Like I almost never agree. I think for the most part people should just be free to emote, but like that really showcases it, right? Because like when you thank someone at the end of the match, at least for me, when I thank someone at the end of the match, it is 100% so that they can have a shop ticket, and 0% to actually thank them for the match. Like that, I do not, if they did not get something out of me thanking them at the end of the match, I would never, ever, ever, never click that button. Never do it. Like the animation is not worth like, you know, saying thanks or whatever. So, so no matter how I feel, unless like, you know how some people will like slow roll you or whatever? If someone's like slow rolling me or something, then sometimes I don't click the thank button because I'm not going to give them a ticket for going out of their way to waste my time, right? Like, but win or lose, no matter like even if I got rolled, no matter what, no matter how good I think the game was, you know, whether I thought it was a really good game or whether I thought it was like a trash game or one of us got rolled, unless my opponent has tried to bother me by deliberately wasting my time, I'm always gonna click the thanks button just so that they can have a ticket. That's the only reason to use the thing. So if you get tilted by your opponent rolling you, and then you you get upset because they gave you a ticket, I just don't have respect for you as a person, I guess. Like I just that's like some next level childishness, I think. Opponents trying to like give you a ticket, you know, and you're like, you're giving me something even though you destroyed me? Double jiggle. Jiggly jiggles. Let's go. The Reddit opinions are so funny, it's true. The new promo Jiggly is going to be so fun to unleash against the friends with when paired with Hypno. Just so you can get even more sleep. Sleep your opponent while you sleep them. He called the deck sleep tight. Word. Honestly, I don't even have the mental energy to know if someone who high rolled me thanked me. Right. That's another thing too. You have to like go to the gift thing afterwards. And check. I'm not going to the gift shop, the gift section after every game to see if someone thanked me or not. Like when my session of playing Pokemon is over, then I'll like click that right before I log off, accept all, and not really pay attention to who did what. Just download the game, which pack to choose. If you want the Pikachu deck, open the Pikachu pack. If you want the Mewtwo deck, open the Mewtwo pack. Well, opponent is... Get a tails, come on. You woke up. You don't deserve heads on Misty. No! Alright, this game isn't for us, chat. I don't think this is our game. We'll give this Jigglypuff a chance. Alright. We'll give this Jigglypuff a chance to get a bunch of heads on sleep while it tries to evolve into Squigglybuff. But if opponent wakes up, I'm conceding, because if I don't concede, they just win. Oh, nice. Alright. Good job, Jiggly. You just need to do it once more as a Jigglypuff, and then once as a Wigglytuff. And then that Dragonite can come up and blow us out of the water. Actually, I guess the strategy with the Dragonite is going to be Sabrina it up. And then sleep that first, if we can ever find a Wigglytuff. Four heads on Misty can only be compensated by 4 tails in a row on sleep. It's only fair, I agree. My first coin flip in my first match ever was opponent playing Misty for 10 heads. Yeah, that'll color your opinion of the game, huh? Evolve the Dragonite. Come on. My opponent's smart. They won't ever evolve into Dragonite. Oh, well now I can't do anything. I need a lot of stuff. All right, that's a good start. Opponent needs to get tails twice. They need to get tails 3 times in a row here. If any of those are heads, I think I'm just out. Because I need to retreat Jigglypuff, send up Weezing, and have the Articuno die to poison in order for me to be able to win this game. Oh, don't waste a tails there. Get tails again, please. Alright, sick. Okay. So we can get going on the Weezing here. And alright, so 40, 50, 90, 100, 10, 10. So we need both Giovanni in the next 2 attacks for them to die to sleep. Or if I send up like 120, oh my goodness, so 110, so 120. 110. Yeah, attacking with the Wigglytuff is just gonna knock it out. So I really need I really need them to get even more tails on this sleep here, and then for me to They forget they're still asleep. Like, you can be asleep and poisoned. Oh, does the potion change the math at all? So now, if I get Wigglytuff... Yeah, now if I get Wigglytuff, we're good. Because they potioned. Right? Because they come back at 100. They're going to take 90 coming back to them, and then they'll take the damage there. Alright. Neat. I wonder if my opponent is just like confused that their Pokemon is affected by 2 special conditions. So poison, burn isn't in the game yet, right? Nothing burns right now. Poison and burn in the paper TCG are the only special conditions that can go on a Pokemon no matter what. Oh, perfect. All right, one more sleep flip, Articuno, please. One time for my YouTube video. Let's go. Let's go. But paralysis, confusion, and sleep conflict with each other. One will replace the other. Oh, too bad. Too bad. Oh, that was almost really cool. So basically, we need this Dragonite. Oh, what? Just gave it to us anyway? They should have retreated that. Now I can win. And actually, if they send up Dragonite, all I have to do is... Well, how many X speeds have they used? I know they wasted one because they forgot that they were asleep. So they still have another one, theoretically. Yeah, I think I'm gonna sleep that bench Articuno. Because that way, if they get heads, they still need to have both a... they need both... They need both a heads flip and they need an X speed to be able to attack with the Dragonite. So like, if 150 hits here, like 150 can hit here no matter what, right? And we need it to. So sending the potion there doesn't do anything. It doesn't really do anything active either. But if they do knock out the Wigglytuff, then they just win because they only need 2 points left. What's my favorite Thanksgiving food? Green bean casserole. Oh my goodness, we win! Look at that! Look at us go! It's a little bit of a bummer because our opponent not only had to get unlucky with the coin flips, but they also needed to misplay a little bit. But what's the difference between sleep and paralyze? So paralyze, you can't attack or retreat for 1 turn and then you recover from it. For sleep, you have a chance to recover from it in between turns. So paralyze is stronger because once you're paralyzed, you're paralyzed. But sleep is better because, like, sleep can be better because theoretically you can be asleep forever. Whew. Is the game free to play or pay to win? It is free to play and pay to win, like all these types of games. Yeah, like it's free. You have good access to cards for free. They should have 2 circles on the mon so you can see both, to be honest. I agree. I agree. In paper TCG, you only have a marker for poison. For asleep, you turn the card to the left. So you can see that something's asleep and poisoned. And that's why you can't have multiple status conditions at a time, because if you can't have the card tilted to the left for sleep and tilted to the right for paralyzed, and turned upside down for confused. You can only have them turned one way. and then the poison is kept track of by a marker. So, you know, you can mark something and have it tilted in a direction. Do I have a creator code? No. Are they doing creator codes? What's a creator code? No idea? Okay. I looked up several versions, Shedinja, and I feel like no matter how you represent Shedinja, it will be extremely cursed as a representation of the game. Like in this game. Yeah, I don't know how I would do Shedinja for Pocket. I really I'll tell you how I would do Shedinja for Pocket. All right, so my favorite Shedinja paper mechanic is when you evolve into Ninjask, you get to search your deck for a Shedinja. I would like it if Shedinja didn't have a card that you had to run in your deck, because this is a digital game. You can actually have a token, right? So so if they had Ninjask, its ability is put a Shedinja on your bench. That'd be sick. Burn wasn't in the original. Burn wasn't in the original paper TCG. They added it. It wasn't there on release, if that's what you mean. But burn exists in paper. Burn is kept on by a counter. At least one card of Shedinja represents the unique way to get it, because not having Wonder Guard is less weird than evolves from Ninkata. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be cool if you didn't have to actually run a Shedinja in your deck. Because like the way when they've done that with Ninjask before, you have to search your deck for a Shedinja or play one from your hand. I forget, it's been a long time. What does Shedinja do in the TCG? Different Shedinja do different things. The big iconic one had an ability that it wasn't knocked out by damage from your opponent's attacks. So I think you had to, but it had like really low damage output and really low health. People got away with playing it because like gust effects were so premium back then. Like they hadn't printed boss's orders yet. Especially if they made Shedinja an overly strong basic card for interesting synergies that don't affect evolved mons. Yeah, they could have it like you know, they could have Shedinja be like making it have like actual Wonder Guard where only something it's weak to could damage it would be pretty broken, because then unless your opponent's running very specifically like fire, for example, you're never gonna be able to take it down. I think that's a little silly, but they could definitely have it be like 30 health and it's not damaged by evolutions, or it's not damaged by EXs or something like that. Add it to the game. So I'm going second. I can put my opponent to sleep. I don't have a Weezing in hand, so I won't bother starting with that. Unless that's dumb. Is that dumb? It might be dumb, actually. Well, it'll be fine. Because Starmie can't attack. Well, Misty. I was gonna say, because Starmie can't attack me, but, you know, they could Misty. I got several Melmetal in Pokemon Go, but couldn't get myself to transfer it to Let's Go. Let's Go was such a cool game. For the most part, it had some like really fixable but largely intolerable flaws, but you know, I would have liked to see a sequel for that where they made the evolving, not the evolving, the like getting the stats better. And you know, like any game that has a PvP element but doesn't have a random queue, like you in Let's Go, to fight another person you have to like make a little password out of Pokemon sprites and queue into someone with that password. I think that's how it works in this game, but if you want to fight someone specifically. But this game has random queue, right? Whereas in Pokemon, in Let's Go, you didn't have random queue. I'm just gonna get out of here because I don't want them to just like evolve and knock out my Jigglypuff, right? So I'll give them a coughing, and we can start continuing to set up our Wigglytuff. So like you would go through all the effort. This is my problem with Arceus also a little bit, but so you would go through the effort of setting up your Pokemon to be powerful, and then you had to like basically have a friend who also did that. My friend agreed to power up his Pokemon, and so it took me like a week of like playing a ton to fully power up all of my Let's Go team, like competitive team. And he had given up and not told me like halfway through the week or less. So I get to the end and I'm like, all right, all my Pokemon are powered up, I'm ready for us to fight. And he's like, oh, I stopped working on that days ago. I was like, I wasted so much time. So like I have a fully IV powered up team in Let's Go, and I have never played with it even one time because there's no random queue. So and my friend ruined me. But in Arceus, right, there is an even PvP. So when I would try, like, I actually really like their system of working with working with stats. It's not like the gross grind that it is in other Pokemon games. It's like a very palatable grind to like maximize your Pokemon stats in Arceus. But there are two problems. One, they completely scuffed battling period in Arceus. Like, I really like Arceus because of the exploration and the tricky ways to catch Pokemon. I avoided every battle I could because the battling part of it is really stupid. So like I actually kind of forget the details of it, but there's a lot of like random stuff that happens, and unnecessary complication and unnecessary like very swingy randomness. So like they completely changed how it worked in a way that I thought was a pretty big negative. And so that's problem number one. But also, you didn't have the option to play anybody at all. And in Let's Go, you know, they didn't have a random queue, but at least, you know, if you knew someone else that you wanted to play, you could play against them. In Arceus, you can't play against anybody at all. So there's like by the time you get to the point in the game where you would want to start maximizing your Pokemon, there's nothing to do with them. Some of the game mechanics of Pokemon Pocket seem quite different to how I remember them in TCG. Yeah, they've made changes in an attempt to make the game more palatable to a mobile audience. Like, it's condensed for sure. Boop. Is it only on mobile? It is. It is. It's meant to be a mobile game. A week of Martian, well, there you go. Alright, now we have our Weezing start into our Wiggly follow-up, which frankly I think is pretty cool. Should I take the free knockout? I guess so. Knock out that old Amber, just for fun. There was definitely a version of the fossils that couldn't be affected by special conditions. So luckily these ones aren't that. Bum, bum. Hi, Ivysaur. Hi, Ivysaur. You know what would really make the next set's items more useful? Special energy items, like an item that replaces your current energy zone energy with double colorless or hard metal energy. That'd be interesting. I'm not sure how they'd do that, but I definitely want an item that changes what type of energy is in your energy zone to make dual types more interesting. I distinctly remember having to knock out 6 Pokemon. Yep. So, in this game, you only need 3 points. You only have 3 bench, so that's 3 less points. Like in the paper game, it's prizes, but in this one, it's points. So, you need 3 less points than you needed prizes in the paper TCG. And you have 2 less bench spots than you had in the paper TCG, and you have a third of the deck, so you actually only have 20 cards, and you can only run half of the cards. So like, you know, in paper you could run 4 copies of card. In this you can only run 2, and in paper you can have a 60 card deck, or you have a 60 card deck, and in this you only have a 20 card deck. So like everything's condensed for mobile. In the paper TCG, can anything be a prize card, even your win condition? Yep. You draw an opening hand of 7, place down a basic, and then you take the top 6 cards of your deck and put them as your prize cards. And what's really bad is, those function like points do in this game. So when you knock out a Pokemon, you take a prize card, and once you've taken 6 prize cards, you win the game. But you also don't get to look at the prize cards unless a card specifically tells you to. So the first time you search through your deck, you basically look through your deck, think about your hand, and reverse engineer what should be in your prize cards. So like, you know, it takes, you know, an additional like 30 seconds on your first search just to like figure out what your prize cards are. It's a little bogus. And so what you end up doing is running a lot more duplicates than you would otherwise. So like, there are a lot of cards that you only need 1 of. But you run 2 or sometimes even 3 just because, like, depending on what it is, just because you can't afford to have it be prized. Usually if you're running duplicates just to make sure something's not prized, you're running 1 extra. Usually you go 2. Because, like, depending on what it is, it can be pretty useless having a duplicate, but you just need it not to be in the prizes. But occasionally, you know, like, if something's important enough, you run 3. I do not have a Giovanni in hand, unfortunately. I guess they'll get knocked out coming back to this turn, which is kind of nice. If they don't do anything. So yeah, they've made like some cards that let you look in your prize cards and replace it with something else, but I don't think they've done it enough. They had like, right now there's Hisuian Heavy Ball, which lets you look at your prize cards, and if you find a basic there, you can take that out, put it in your hand, and put the heavy ball back where it was. And then you like reshuffle your prizes, put it back down. So that's a way to get a basic out of your prize cards, but it's not always a basic that you need, right? It's not always even a Pokemon, but frequently you need an evolved Pokemon. I think the best form of that ever was a Zelf. So a Zelf from, I think the set was Majestic Dawn. You would look at your prizes and take any Pokemon out of there and replace it with a different card in your hand. And when you played the Zelf onto your bench is when you would do that. And that one at least is like, no matter what the Pokemon was that you were missing, you could get it out of the prizes. So I thought that was better than Hisuian Heavy Ball. It's a little annoying that it takes up a bench spot, but the fact that you can, like right now I'm running a 2-2 Pidgeot line in my Terapagos list, because if I prize a Pidgeot, it becomes much harder to win. Like if I'm only running one Pidgeot, you know, I need that Pidgeot because it's my most reliable way to have general consistency, but also specifically it's the only way I can search my deck for a double turbo energy, which the deck needs. So I'm running a 2-2 line where if the prize cards weren't involved, a 1-1 line would be perfect. So if Hisuian Heavy Ball could go and fetch Pidgeot, I wouldn't need to run a 2-2 line because the Hisuian Heavy Ball would function as either the second copy of Pidgey or the second copy of Pidgeot, depending on which one ended up in the prizes. Isn't Peonia a better version of that? Peonia has rotated. It has rotated, and I don't think it's a better version necessarily, because Peonia, for those of you who don't know, is draw 3 of your prize cards and then take 3 cards from your hand and put it back. So like, if you have 6 prize cards left, whatever is prized, you only have a 50% chance of being able to find it. So you could Peonia and not get the thing you wanted, but also it's rotated, so it's no longer available for standard. Unless I'm tripping. Am I tripping? You're making me double check. Yep, that rotated. I was like pretty confident. But yeah, so Peonia taking up your supporter is a huge negative. So in the case of Hisuian and like which supporters in pocket doesn't matter too much because the supporters aren't very good, and you, other than Professor's Research, there's not one that you'd like always want to play. So in paper TCG, you have such access to quality supporters that having to use your supporter for a turn is a big negative. Because you usually want to be drawing with it, and if you're not drawing with it, then you have to have a really good reason. So if you ended up using your supporter for the turn to get something out of your prizes, and then you don't even get it, you know, that's a big problem. So the fact that it's a supporter is already a huge downside, but also you don't even get to look at all of your prizes, right? You draw 3 of your prizes, and if you have 6 left, that's half that you don't even get to see. So you could waste your supporter for a turn to not even get it, which, you know, that's a big negative. So I think Hisuian Heavy Ball and Zelf are both better than that, except that, like, you know, if you were going to run something to get a non-basic Pokemon out of your prize cards, you'd have to pick Peonia over Hisuian Heavy Ball, just because Hisuian Heavy Ball doesn't get it. But in most cases, you would rather just run extra copies of cards than play Peonia in your deck. The prize card system makes decks inherently less consistent, which makes decks less optimal, which increases fun due to the fact that games will be less repetitive. Yes and no. Like, I don't think the prize card system in Pokemon adds anything to the game that isn't already done better and well enough just by draw variants. It more than anything else, what prize cards do is add an element of something important was prized and now I automatically lose because I needed it, you know? Like it adds an element of you get hosed sometimes depending on what your prize cards are. And like you can even well prepare your deck to mitigate that and it can still happen. So like I think the prize card variance is a big negative, like is almost exclusively a negative, and at least the amount of negative that the prize card system is as far as variance goes well outweighs the potential positive of adding some fun variants. But like the games just don't play out in a way where that would matter positively. So I think if they added more cards that let you more, like if they added better cards that let you mitigate getting hosed by prizes, then I think that would be okay. But I think no, I pretty much strongly disagree with that assessment.